Alright, hi. Lesson 2, identifying railway regulatory requirements. Description. The Army Force Protection Strategy requires an ability to rapidly deploy worldwide on a short notice movement. Units will move on by rail from their home station to the ASPS point of embarkment efficiency. These effective railway movements may require the unit movement officials familiarize themselves with and understand applicable rules, regulations, procedures, documentation, references, enabling learning event object. This lesson is identifying railway regulatory guidance, tie-down procedure, loading material, vehicles, equipment on the railway cars. The identification will include the type of the railway equipment, the railway cars, components, markings, characteristics, condition, giving a self-study environment of the material in the subcourse in accordance with the subcourse material provided within any other reference cited below. References to the material lesson was obtained from the Forcecom Army National Guard Regulation 55-1, the unit movement planning dated October 1995, Forcecom Regulation 55-2, unit movement data reporting system, administration data in January 1985, Field Manual 5565, strategic deployment of surface transportation dated October 1995, Technical Manual 55-2200-001-12, Technical Manual Transportation Guidance Application Blocking Bracing Tie-Down Material for the Railway Transportation, Interstate Commerce Commission RER, Official Railway Equipment Register. This lesson contains Section 2, Planning Reference Section 2, 3, Identifying Tie-Down Material Rules, Section 2, 4, Identifying Railway Cars, 2, 5, Identifying railway car markings, 2.6 lesson summary, 2.7 lesson 2 practice exercise, lesson 2.8 lesson practice and exercise and answer key feedback. Introduction. The Army's policy unit and the conduct to make the maximum use of the commercial transportation of the point of embarkment, normally the use of the railway movements when the traveling distance of the mobilization station or the point of embarkment exceeds 1 day. The road march limitation 400 miles. Railway transportation must be used in travel distance less than 400 miles in the shipping consisting of the non-roadable equipment. The lesson will assist in the planning of the unit of the rail movement, identifying the source of the railway regulatory requirements. Forcecom Army Regulation 55-1. Forcecom Army Regulation 55-1 prescribes the policy assigned with the responsibility commanders at all levels to plan and execute the unit movement. These levels include CON USA, the Army U.S. Reserve Command, the Army Army Readiness Group, Strategic State Area Commands, or STARC, Major U.S. Army Reserve Commands, MUSARC. Forthcoming Army National Guard Regulation 55-1 provides instruction for the planning unit movements of air, sea, and rail, identify the movement of documentation requirements, provide instruction with completion. Forcecom Form 285-1R, request for transportation of Forcecom Form 285-5R of the unit loading plan, the description procedure determining the opposite, obtaining the blocking bracing tie-down materials, illustration of blocking bracing tie-down materials generated with the compass, Forcecom Regulation 55-2 Regulation Unit Movement Data Reporting Plan, Administration Direct Maintenance and Reporting Procedure for the unit movement, unit mobilization data for the Forcecom also describes the process of complying blocking bracing tie-down material data in the compass database provided with the blocking bracing tie-down material data detailed in summary and reports of the authorized equipment, authorized user equipment listing coded with the rail movement. Field Manual 5565, the Field Manual 5565 Strategic Deployment of Surface Transportation provides over and over the joint over the operation planning of the process, provides a detailed description of 3 aspects: planning and conditioning, unit movement of 2 key systems, and developing strategic deployment plans is the Worldwide Military Command Control System, or the WMCCS. Worldwide Military Command Control System compromises National Military Command System, the NMCS, of the command with the control system of the combat command, the Joint Operation Planning Execution, or JOPS. JOPS, the Joint Operation Planning Execution System, is used with the Joint Chief of Staff to provide tools to solve the complex mobile problems associated with deploying sustaining military forces and their support. Joint Operation Planning and Execution Systems produce the operation of the OPLAN or OPRD. The 2 major component systems supporting the unit movement, planning, and the execution of these systems are compass, described in the unit property equipment and transportation term. Compass also produces an Army user equipment listed report showing the individual shipment units planned for the movement. The TCA CCIS automated system facilities processing transportation information with the installation and unit levels. The action preparing personnel equipment for the deployment of the rules installation transportation officer ITO or the unit military the unit military command control with the deployment of deployment support brigades, DSB. Technical Manual 55-2200-001-12. The Technical Manual 55-2200-001-12. The Technical Manual Transportation Guidance Application Blocking Bracing Time Manual for the Railway Transportation is the Bible. The Railway Car Loading. The manual provides with the Associated American Railroad basic rules for railway car loading. Additional Technical Manual 55-2200-001-12 contains the extract of these regulation publication for Army National Guard 50 Regulation 55-2 illustrating and explaining the compass generated with the bit locking bracing tie down locking bracing material detailed list Army Regulation 55-355 military traffic management regulation describes the prescription of the order of the railway car equipment the trailer train company equipment brochure listing the description of special purpose railway cars technical Bulletin 55-46-1, Technical Bulletin 55-46-1, Standard and Characteristics of Transportation Military Vehicles, other outsized overweight equipment that provides the dimensional weight and cube of the material vehicles mounted in equipment, and other outside of the overweight equipment. The Technical Bulletin 55-46-1 provides the data in column or title tables identifying Army tow, LIN, and associated index numbers, national stock numbers, set of the major and end items of the appropriate tow, LIN, disassembled vehicle component codes, rotable, non-rotable vehicle identifier codes, type of the equipment codes, LIN, component description, shipping and configuration codes, number of the pieces, dimension, weight of the cube, the cargo, vehicle load, the weights and code, height and cube, index number of the major end of the items related to this amount, assembled components of the cargo load indicated with the various type of the aircraft cargo category indicated if their items are not air transportable, size, oversized, or bulk, heavy, light, if dimensions, or is identifying the item of the bulk, item of equipment, short tons, and if and under the over 35 feet of an dimension. The MTMCT PAN 55-619 tie-down handbook for the railway movement. The pocket of the size handbook providing the soldiers with a convenient job in aiding for security military vehicles equipment with the open-top railway cars. The MTMCT pamphlet 5519 contains Association of American Railway Car Loading Rules information, tips on common mistakes noted during actual loading exercise, illustration diagrams, bills of the blocking bracing tie-down materials for variety of the military vehicles. Interstate Commerce Commission Railway Equipment Register. The Interstate Commerce Commission and Railway Equipment Register 6411Y. The official equipment railway register is published annually on behalf of the railways, private car companies in North America. And the Railway Equipment Registry shows by the car number, the type, the dimension, capacity of the freight of the car, the type, and tanker cars that provides the freight connection, interchange with the junction points of the connections, includes billing addresses and report marks for the private owned car owners. Introduction. For 2-3. Note that there is learned with the primary reference of over the equipment, the railway rail, so that's summarized with the Association of American Railroad American Railroad. Association of American Railroad General Rules Loading Open Top of the Railway Card section does not cover all the rules, rather than highlights the addressing of the tie-down procedure for the rail car loads. Rule 1, Inspection Compliance. Rule 1, Inspection Compliance containing the 4 components of notification. Shippers are most notify the carriers of the intent of loading the concentrated weights for the heavy commodities when ordering cars. The Association of American Railroads notifies the shipper carriers the wire and other expedition means of implementing new revised fire corrected with the hazardous places. Acceptable shipment, the interchange of floating in the air arriving the carrier interchange of the junction does not comply with the applicable the AAR figure circular letter revision. Acceptable will be governed by the way bill provided with the is issued to the effective date of the change. Use tarpaulins and other covers. The tarpaulins or other covers to protect loading during the transit must be secured to prevent them from working loose or becoming an operational safety hazard. Agreement with the procurement methods, both shipper and carrier. When the loading requires the flat cars longer than 60 feet, the shipper to the origination carrier must confirm with the agreed to the securement requirements in addition with those shown in figure AAR for 60-foot cars. The shipper to the origination carrier must confirm with the appropriate block of the bracing and method loads for the not covered by the Special Association of American Railroads. Figure. Rule 2, the brake wheel clearance. Rule 2, brake wheel clearance figure in 2.1 shows the minimum requirements for the brake wheel clearance. Increase the brake wheel clearance as much as consistent with the proper location of the load. Alright, Rule 2, braking wheel clearance continued. 2.1 shows the braking wheel clearance, A, B, and C. Items A with the railway cars with accepted loading of the equipment. Tanks and similar ship cargo items show the 6-inch wheel brake clearance behind the brake wheel, open on both sides of the brake wheel and above the brake wheel. Items B show the 4-inch clearance under the brake wheel. Item C indicates the brake minimum clearance from the end of the car to load, extended with the brake wheel centered with the side of the car, the 6 feet above the car floor. On gondolas cars with the space may be utilized with the car floor to 4 inches below the brake wheel bottom. Rule 3, wood securement items, quality and species. Rule 3, wood securement items, quality and species and acceptable blocking materials. Only wooden goods and the sound, the quality and the straight grained, free decay, strengthening, impair, knots, and acceptable for the use of Appendix B. Contains extracted pages for the technical manual 55-2200-00 10-12, showing the type of the woods acceptable for use. Alright, Rule 4, Rule 4, single car maximum load weight. Rule 4, single car maximum load weight. The weight of the load must not exceed the load limited stencil on the railway car. The weight of the material load uniformly distributed with the truck center to the ends of the car must not exceed 30% of the stencil load limited. That is 50% of each of the end of the figure 2.2 and figure 2.3 show the load concentrated at specific points. Load concentration between the body bolsters and end sills must not exceed these percentages. Location, the center of a line bolster permissible concentrated percent stencil load 50, 1/4 of the distance of bolster center and sill, 30% of the concentrated load with the stencil, 1/2 the distance between the bolster and the end sill, 15% of the concentrated stencil load limit, 3/4 of the distance between the bolster and the end sills, the 10% of the possible concentrated percent of the stencil load limit. At the end of the sill, 7.5% of the stencil load limit. Alright, figure 3.2.2 shows the sketching of one of evenly distributed bolsters at 15%. Rule 4, single car maximum load weight continued. Sketch 2 shows the load concentration at specific points 50, 30, 15, and 10 and 7.5. The diameter of 1/4 to 12, 3/4 and 1 and D. The load weights do not exceed with the percentage of stencil load limit shown in the diagram unless the car owner designates exemption by the note of the railway equipment register. The weight of the concentration percentage applied to the load spoil in the center of the gravity located with the longitudinal center of the car. Figure 2.4 shows the center of load in concentration flat cars with a fish belly center with the side sills of the flat car built on after January 1st, 1965. Figure 2.5 shows the center load concentration flat cars not equipped with a fish belly center and side cells built prior to January 1st, 1965. Figure 2.6 shows the center load concentration of the gondola cars. Figure 2. Rule 4.3, Rule 4, single car maximum load women's continued. 2.4 shows the center load concentration flat cars and fish belly centers and side sill less than 18 feet, 75%, 18 feet or over at 100% in the truck centers. These figure 2 shows the center load construction. The center load concentration flat cars are not equipped with the fish belly centers and side sills 10 feet or less to 67, over 10 feet to 24 to 75, over 24 to the truck centers, 90% truck centers, and over 100%. Rule 4, single car maximum load weight. 2 figure 2.6 shows the center loaded concentration gondola cars less than 18 feet, 75%, 18 feet or less than 24 feet, 75%, and 24 feet or over 100%. Rule 5, location of load of all the cars. Rule location of the load of all the cars. The rule states that the weight of the load on the one truck must exceed 1/2 of the stencil load limit. The load must be equally distributed along the both sides of the railway car for the entire length of the load, equalizing the weight of the using the ballast. If not, cannot be distributed load evenly across the car. Secure all loads to prevent the load from falling off over the car. Large heavy materials not covered with the individual Association of American Railroad figures should be loaded with a large dimension on the floor to prevent tipping of when the load of the weight exceeds 25 tons. Load total vacant spaces across the car exceeds 8 inches. Secure the load, preventing the movement and tipping of the side of the car. Secure items with a heavy, high center of the gravity, narrow base to prevent them from tipping over during the transit. And secure single trailers to a hitch at the end of the car to ensure that the loading of the trailer weren't wheels near the center of the car. Rule 7. Over dimensions of all loads. The height of the width and length of the road of one car without unrestricted movement must be with the outline diagram published in the railway line clearance. Secure over dimensional load with adequate using landing equipment with the doors and the other accessories, including machinery, but with adjustable treads and wheels and liable to become loose and extend into line clearance. Secure cylindrical objects which may rotate are these protrusions. Rule 8. Idler. The idler cars describe the procedure for using idler cars. Using idler cars to load projects beyond the end of the sill carrying car and the necessary for the space of the two car spaces, but used with a handling a long load. Using idler cars maintain the 4-inch clearance below the overhang of the portion of the load any of the of the idler car which in the load may contact. Figure 2.7 shows an idler car with a single end overhanging the load, using a space for the idler cars loading in accordance with these provisions. Figure 2.7 shows the idler car with the single end over the hang of the idler car with a 6 foot or less to 4 feet. Rule 8. Idler car continue cars of the conventional draft gear located at the end of the load, no less than 2 feet at the end of the overhang load. Cars of the sliding at the end of the car cushion device located at the end of the load, no less than 6 feet at the end of the car overhanging. Rule 14. Nails and staples and lag of the cruise. Rules 19. Nails, staples, and lag screws dictate the use of the type of the hardware securing the load, unless otherwise specified, either with the common cement coated with nails designated with the penny weight, using the power-driven nails of the spaces, increasing the number of the nails used by specified Association of American Regular Railroads figures by 1/3. By using a lag screw in the substitute of the nails and pre-drill holes, the torque by the mechanical means do not hammer the lag screws. Rule 15. Attachment devices. 15 pertains to all the attachment devices, including bolts, nuts, rods, bands, wire, rope, cable, chains, non-metallic stripping, bands or wire protectors, point of attachment, substitution, turnbuckles, and constant engine devices. Bolts, rods, washers. Use the rods, bolts requires the use of the rod bolts with rolled threads with the same diameter of the U.S. standard cut threads. Do not bend the thread of the portion with the rod bolts. Use the plate, and when use plate or plates when using the rod of tie-downs passing the large diameter holes in the lading the plate must be sufficient the strength to prevent the bending of between the landing of the nut and the rod. Do not use the rods with the open hook ends on either of the load of the over the car. Retain the nuts over the original position. Prevent the backing off the nickel chisel hack, flattening and distorting 3 or more of the threads on the rods, bolts of the behind the single double nuts tacked weld or to the rods. Bending a rod around the sack pocket, the welding overlapping portion of the main rod is prohibited. Rule 15. Attachment devices continued. Wire and high tension common. Machine tension, high tension of the winch require the location of the twist ties, washer attachment no more than 6 inches from the point of the anchor. The second hand reclaimed with a high tension band of the wire, commonly wire not be reused. Securement devices. When using a wire rope with the cables overlap end of the 12 inches to secure the U-bolt cable clip to protect the wire open cables with the sharp corners, edges of the U-thimble to prevent the sharp turns type. The turnbuckle not suitable tension device twisted in and taut with the using rod of the bolt pipe. Do not allow them to contact one another to prevent the shafting of the wire. When using the slides, stakes, and strap anchors, point of the attachment must be strong enough to secure. Do not lock the turnbuckles, welding and turnbuckle threads. Welding and lading and chains to be car is prohibited. When using a chain and chain assemblies, pass chains around the thought of the stake pocket and the grab hook of the engaging the chain. The type of the chains for any purpose is prohibited. The type of the bolts for the repair of the broken chain secure end if the chain is prohibited. Use a clevis type of the grab hooks unless the grab hooks carry for the appropriate manufacturer permanent distinctive mark. Identifying the grade of the hook number. The securing chains which are equally the weight load divided with the chains working limit or the WWL. We're using the minimum 3 of the chains. Rule 15.5. Attachment devices continued. 2.8 shows the securement devices: a clevis, grab hook, claw hook, hook and chain securement, wire, the thimble, and the U-bolt clamps. Calculation chain requirements. When calculating the number of the chains securing the commodity subject for the rolling, the number of the chains should equal the weight of the load divided by the load limit multiplied by 2. Use a minimum of 4 chains to 2 in each direction. Alright, strapping. These requirements for the use of the strapping use metallic straps unless the specified in the technical manual 55-2200-001-12. The high tension bands and high tension wires are equal to the greater the breaking the strength of the substitute for each other. The chains and cables for the equal the greater breaking the strength may be substituted for the high tension band. High tension bands, high tension wires, common and yield wires may not be substituted for the rods and bolts and flat bars of the threaded ends. 2.4. Identifying railway cars. Know that they're acquainted with the rules of governing loading on the open top of the railway cars. We'll discuss the different type of the railway cars. We will also describe some of the components explaining with some of the railway car loading terms. Railway car designation. These three basic types of railway cars: flat cars, gondola, and special purpose cars. Flat car designation is designation of flat cars. The FA, the cars with the superstructure contained with the transportation setup of the vehicles not suitable for the miscellaneous commodities. FB, the cars with permanently attached movable bulkheads and ends. The FBC, bulkheaded car equipped with the center beam above the deck. FC, the car equipped with the piggyback service such as the trailer on flat car, container on the flat car. TOFC and COFC. The FCA is an articulated multiple unit equipped with the piggyback service. The FD of the car is pressed between the trucks, providing loading and overhead clearance of the FM general servicing the flat car with no side of the ends of the FW car loading and the lowering of the hole's overhead clearance. Gondola card designation. The designation for the gondola card. GB, one top of the car with the fixed side and the fixed and drop ends with the solid bottom. Gondola car designation continued. GD on the top of the car with the fixed drop end, solid bottom of the side doors for dumping. GW open in the top and well hole with the fixed sides of the end of the one of the more depressing and large landing overhead clearance. Special railway car. The designation and description of the special railway car. The TTX includes the 89-foot cars equipped with the hitches, standard gear, end of the car cushion devices with the trailer military service. Cars have either standard deck or low decks with the fish belly center of the steel floors. The HCTTX 69 fish belly center equipped with the special heavy duty. The tandem equipped with these cars will have movable retractable chain assemblies contained with the channels along these car sides adjacent with the centers. So on each side, the chains assembled with the work load limits of 11,250 pounds. The ITTTX standard deck of 89 feet, flush deck of 89 feet 4 inches of the car. The car is equipped with a special adjustable fold-away pedestal movable. The ratchet winch of the cars are used in transport trailer, tractors, load, saddleback style. Alright, OTTX, the same basic of the HETTX. The cars have special tie-down channels on each side adjacent with the center swivel on each side. The channels have movable retractable winches equipped with 6,600 pounds of work limit load change assembly. The TDDX is the flush deck with 89 feet 4-inch car equipped with movable screw type winches 11 meters long with a 250 work limited load change hydraulic draft gears. The TDX car transports military vehicles loaded in semi-saddleback style. Alright, car. Gotta think it out. Car components. Car components refer to the Association of Railroad rules. Bolster and body. The transverse member of the uniframe of the overstack of the transmit longitudinal load with the truck screw in the center plate of the brake wheel. The wheel attached with the end of the brake shaft. When manually turned, the wheel is applied with the brake center shield. The center longitudinal member of the car under the frame, the deck, the wooden floor of the flat railway car, the flooring, the lowering layer of the material on the top of the underframe of the railway car, provided with the direct support of the lading or release lever, a rod with the bent handle, and usually attached to the end sill. This rod opens and lock automatic coupler uncouples without going between them. Side sills, the outside longitudinal members of the undercar frame. Stake pocket, the metal receptacles attached to the side and end of the flat car. The receptacles serve as attachment points with the securement device, such as wire, rope, chains, and other end attachments to the vehicle. Terminology. The definitions of common terminology used to describe the railway car loading procedure. Bearing pieces. Bearing pieces are materials placed on the car floor underneath lading, facilitate loading and unloading railway cars. Bearing pieces maintain 4-inch clearance between the overhang and the position of the load of the idler car. Distributed weight of the load of the lading over the flat car floor. Blocks, wood materials secured in lading in the place of the nails and nails, bolts and wires. Laces, materials retaining loading and the blocking in position. All right, terminology: continued capacity, nominal loading pounds of cubic feet of the railway car design check block, concave emitter blocking pieces used to secure the plot objects in place, clamping pieces of the wood member placed across the top of the load to keep the load secure and place the clamping pieces secured to the railway car to the shake pocket with the roads that also secure with the movable parts on the machinery vehicles. Double load, a shipment requiring the two carrying the cars, floating loading a load prepared with the unit within space between the unit of the car and the end block and the end emitted with the permit the length movement of the load to dissipate the shock gross weight. The total light and empty weight of the car, plus the total weight of the landing permitted with the load limit of the car, the gross weight of the maximum weight permitted with on the rails, interchange of the cars of one carrier placed on the surface and another carrier of the car, moving one rail to another at the junction at which the interchanges occur, the rigid brace load, the lading secured with the blocking, other means to prevent the movement of the lading and the transit, separators, materials placed crosswise between the layers of the load to facilitate loading and unloading, provides level of support. Additional layers provide special apply to the securement item. Snub load, a load method restricted lengthwise movement of the load using anti-skid plates, lag screws, and other restraint devices. Terminology: continued tear weight, the weight of the empty freighter, also light weight, and the thimbles, metal, particularly preventing the cutting and the breaking of the cable securing the sharpening points. WWL refers to maximum load in the pounds of which should be applied to a chain. All right, 2.5 Introduction. The AAR Association specifies markings appearing on the railway cars, marking identifying the car owner, load limit, and the railway equipment register. Explains the car owner report markings assigned with the Association of American Railroads. Lesson provided the overview of the markings, CANAS, stenciled markings, stenciled marking on the railway cars, CANAS or OCANAS, reporting markings. The description of reporting markings include owner identification, car code, and car number, the capacity, the name of the load, nominal load limit in pounds, the cubic feet of the car. Other than the flat cars and tanker cars, the car is designed to carry the light weight, the empty weight of the car, or the A end of the car, the end of the opposite of the car, end of the car, opposite end of the brake wheel is located. The B end of the car is where the brake car is located, but both ends of the brake wheel has letters. If both ends have brake wheels, the letters A and B are stenciled on both sides near the car ends. The railway equipment register. Railway car table listing. The railway equipment register of railway car listings describe the characteristics available to railway cars for each of the owner. Railway cars list the items associated with railway mechanical design, car type, the code description, inside, outside dimensions, car type code, door opening height, the rated gallons and rated gallons for tanker cars, number of the cars of each of the type available. 2.6 Lesson Summary. During this lesson, identify with the key references of the use of the planet unit rail movements accordance with the Association of American Railroad rules. General we discuss the railway loading of the tie-down rules for the open top cars, railway components, terminology used for conducting railway operations, railway car characteristics and markings. We skip the exercises and the answers. Lesson 3: pre-planning a unit rail move.